All right. Well, here we are. We're all recording. And this is the assignment for school social workers. And we have with us the lovely Courtney Fakler. Um, I will start, and I will start with the first question. Can you tell us about your journey to becoming a social worker in school?
Okay, so I started out doing social work. I did my bachelor's level practicum at Detox here in Rochester, and um, I thought Arlen Carey decided to put me in that class because he was like, I need you to be outside of a comfort zone. I've always loved kids. I knew I wanted to work with kids. And so he wanted it was either there or the JDC. So I went to Detox and it was amazing to be outside my comfort zone and choose a different table. Go find my daughter. Um, and so I wanted to make sure that I got some exposure to things, and I did. It was some really great exposure. It really broadened my ability to work with people and just understand um, through my own journey. I have family who's suffered from alcohol abuse, and so I needed to know where my boundaries were with that. And so it really helped test my boundaries of like, okay, this is my limit. Okay, this is when I need to reach out for help, or this is when my empathy isn't working, or this is when, and so it really helped me with that. And so then I got hired on right away, and I was like, this is all fun, but I need to be in a school. I want to be with little people. So I went, and there was an opening in Stewartville, and I applied, and they had one social worker that worked there. I used the term lightly. Um, it was Joelle's laughing because she knows exactly what I'm talking about. He believed that social workers were um, only there to help with teen pregnancy and drug abuse, and that he was in emergencies. So he would read the paper every day. That was his job. He just read the paper to see if there was an emergency. So I came in and I turned the school on its ear. I I was like, no, this is what social work is. It's advocating. It's getting needs for families met. It's like, and so I started out. I was only half time for the whole elementary section, and then the next year I was full time for that. Then the next year I had all special education in the whole district and elementary, and then they started giving me high school students because I was seeing like doing all these interventions and doing this stuff, and so about I'm just trying to think how many some at some time. When did you get hired? How many years have you
This
been
is
there?
year 6 for me.
So about halfway. So that I left at year 14 for Stuart Bell, and then about halfway through that, they were like, "Huh," and that social worker chose to go to another district, and we got Joelle, and for 2 years,
3 years.
3 years, we rocked it together.
We were the dream
We
team.
were the dream team. We did it, and like it was amazing. And then my family and I decided that we needed to move away. Like the minute
left me.
I left. And so I now am in Chattanooga. I'm in the Hamilton County School District. And I love Stewartville, but I'm in a huge district. There are 79 schools. We have our own health clinic. Um, we, there are 79 social workers. There are two assistants to the director of social work. We have our PD days. We bring in, so I am now certified in trauma informed play therapy. Um, uh, let's see what other I'm like I have like so many certifications now. It's like to list them out because every PD she writes grants, and so we bring in therapy and we get certified. So we do 3 day training. So every PD is for us. We don't go to any other district PDs except for us. Um, we had a whole day training on sex trafficking that I even took a sex trafficking class, rocked my world. Like so many things that they talked about. And so that is the most amazing opportunity. And to be with 79 other social workers doing the same work at the same time in the same district, it just blows my mind. So that's my journey to where I am now. I love it so much. It's been hard, but I love it.
Right on. You guys want to take either one of you want to take the next one?
I can do the second one. So the second question says, what are your job responsibilities?
So my
Kind of,
yes, please go ahead.
No, please.
So my first job responsibility is that I take care of the school as a whole. I have one school, and it is a very, I would say, decently low needs school um, compared to some of my colleagues. But I take care of the schools. So if I welcome students every morning. I go and make sure that the kids that are struggling, I check in with them. Then I have 41 kids on my caseload. And so I have my master's degree. And I also just next week, I take my next certification licensure. And so I'm going for my LICSW. And my district offers free supervision for that. So I just have to take the test and then they help me with all my documentation for my LICSW. And so I do intensive, like the therapeutic interventions. So I do social skills groups for some of my kiddos, but then I also work with trauma. I do a lot with play therapy. I see kids individually, and I see one family subgroup I see together, two siblings. I also do duties. I also cover for the principals when they're gone. I also do a lot of resource brokering. That was probably the hardest transition move. I had everything here. We're meeting with the Tiger Charge, which is a nonprofit that works specifically with us, works with you. So when I moved to a different district, I had zero. I started out with nothing. I actually called, I'm pointing over here because she's over here, Rebecca Carlson. And I was like, what do I do? I have nothing. I have nothing. So this is my third year starting out. And I feel like, oh, I'm just getting into it, just now getting resources. Because you had a family who's like dealing with homelessness or bed bugs are big. We have a lot of bed bug issues because in the South, like they never die. There's no bugs that ever die. And lice because you can't just like put things out. So yeah, that's basically all my job responsibilities. Lots of talking with families. I do a lot of family meetings, but I'm not on any IEPs. They don't put social workers on IEPs at all. So if I see a kiddo, it is for therapeutic services or preventative care or resource management, never just on an IEP.
Okay, here's the third question. I know you touched base a little bit on this. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. What interventions are offered in your school for students that are struggling in the areas of mental and behavioral health? And then which of these interventions are you responsible for?
So, like I said, we have a huge district. And so we have a whole behavior team. And the behavior team takes care of all of the behavior interventions. We also have a SEED coach, which is a student support coach, and they also help with interventions. This year, because our school is so small, our student support coach went to part time and it went. So we have so we have 375 students. And we have a principal, an assistant principal, a SEED coach, a counselor, and myself that all handle that, plus our special education teachers. And so if it's a gen ed student, then the SEED coach and I work together to do an intervention. If it is a special ed student, the teacher, and I, and the special education behavior coach. So there's a special education behavior coach, and then there's a gen ed behavior coach. And then we also have both dual resources based on if they have an IEP or not, like avenues you can travel for interventions. And then for mental health, so I do all my mental health screenings. Some of the schools have in-house therapies, Cornerstone. We don't have that in our school, so I do a lot of referral out so I do all the therapeutic interventions.
All right. The next one says if you had a magic wand and could implement your role as a school social worker in the most effective way, what would that look like?
So there has been some cultural differences moving down south. They understood a social worker to be just somebody who is pigeonholed into like being in the home and doing family work and fixing just the family. And I came in and again turned a school on its ear. So I've done a lot of educating on like what I've done a whole training on literally all of the background I have, like in all of the training that I have. And so getting that news out there, if I had a magic wand, I would change the perception of what social work means, because that has been my biggest challenge with families and with employees.
In what ways is your school trauma informed? What ways is it not? Is
So
it
the ways the trauma informed, so all schools must be trained within the first 30 days of school on trauma informed practices. And so we have a training every year. I do it. And it talks to teachers about behavior interventions with the brain chemistry, all the background in it. And then we had to take a 27-hour course or 30-hour course on trauma informed. And then we also had an in speaker. And so I am STAR certified trauma informed, and all social workers are. Thank you. All social workers in our district are trauma informed, and all of our counselors are trauma informed, and some of our seed coaches. And they brought the trainer to us. And then on top of that, we had to take a certified course. Ways that they're not, I would say, so it's one thing to teach it, is another thing for everyone to implement it. So you can teach it, but then in the moment of teachers, they have a hard time sometimes looking at a student outside of their behaviors and looking at the behavior itself and how we manage this behavior without negatively directing the student. Okay.
Okay, this question is a two-part question. If you could implement one specific change in school system
What would it be?
change in the school system, what would that be? So that's the first part. The second part would be, what would be the consequences, outcomes, fallouts, ramifications for all involved, both good and bad, in this change? And what would the process of implementing look like?
Okay. Good thing
Sorry.
Joelle has that up. Okay.
Yes, she does. She has
One
it with you.
specific change in the school system that would be. So this year because there was budget cuts this year, they attacked, they call it the SEL team. So it's our seed coaches, our counselors, and our social workers, and they cut our staff by 20%. We had shown through our data that we had saved lives, like legit saved lives. The number of suicides, we have to take meticulous data. We get a spreadsheet. So every time we meet with a student, I have to document. Every time I talk to a teacher, every time I talk to a parent, every time I have to document everything I do. And then they take that and put in a spreadsheet. And even with that hardcore data, they decided that that's where the budget cut was. And they took that money and decided to give teachers raises and do other things, because they got a lot of backlash based on teachers have not gotten a raise for 3 years in our district. And so that it did not, so they decided to take that money and put it elsewhere. So that really hurt us, even knowing how important and vital we are. They still that. So we presented to the board. I've never been a big advocate. Like I'm not a person who's like, social injustice, yes, but like for my own job, I'm not like, I need a job. And we had to go before the board. We had parents writing letters. I had to speak to the school board members. Like it was a big deal. We had to go before the county commissioner to talk about why social workers in school are so important, because they were cutting everything. So that was really hard for all that's involved because of these cuts and the changes that were made. There are going to be significant ramifications in the school next year. We cannot do the same outreach. We cannot do the same therapeutic interventions. We cannot do the same family interventions. We have a significant homeless population. All of those things, like we had shootings in our district, and the community, like holding on to the whole community and doing community outreach and stuff, that can't be done. And so we are talking about what that looks like. There's also, because they said 20% of this team will be cut, social workers, counselors, and seed coach kind of turned on each other. Like, no, my job's more important. No, my job's more important. And so it really fractured the team that we're supposed to work together and do all these things, because we each have our own lane to be in to cover the whole child. So that will be hard. So, okay. So that was like one change that happened. And if I could implement, I would go back to one social worker at every school. We won't have that anymore. And so that's what I would change, is going back to one social worker in every school, because you lose so much going building to building to building that so many things fall through the cracks. In the process of implementing, so I would say the process would be that this year they're going to see that their cuts really impact students, and I really hope a crisis doesn't occur where it could have been prevented before. So we're going to use our data to show that, and we're going to use that teachers are going to have to manage a lot more behavior, that families or resources are going to be different. So we're going to take a lot of data.
Does anybody have any questions? Because I don't. I mean, I could listen to Courtney talk all day.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for your information. It was great information.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna go
Thank
ahead
you
and
so
end the
much.
I'm gonna go ahead and end the recording, gang. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.